Mr Chair, I move that the question be now put.
I'll take two more calls. Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Chairman, I'd like the Minister to focus on clauses 15B and 16 of the principal part of the legislation as opposed to the supplementary order paper, and which are part of part one. If it's all right with you, sir, I'll use one of the calls, and my colleague will use the next. I'm not sure if he'll speak about this as well. And I just want to go to the question of the deduction of tax from payment due to defaulters, and to focus on the arrangements where money is held in a joint bank account. And what occurs to me, sir, is that there are a number of people who have joint bank accounts arrangements, people who are trust lawyers, for example. There are a number of things where individuals are signatories on a bank account, and money is paid into it, which theoretically, as a trustee, they can draw out, and it might be that only their signature is required, and according to this subclause, or it ends up being 1B subclause B, and can be withdrawn on their signature. But, sir, what happens if that money, despite it being in a joint bank account, is actually the property of the other signatory of the bank account? And what the Minister is proposing here is, notwithstanding the fact that the money belongs to someone else, there is the ability for the Inland Revenue Department to go into a bank account which doesn't contain money that the Inland Revenue Department have put in, but contains money which is absolutely independently there. And I'm sort of looking to some of my colleagues, and I'm being slightly blaming of them here. How come there was a proposal that we would support legislation that would allow the Inland Revenue Department to go into an account and get money that is not the money that belongs to the tax defaulter, and to get it out? Well, Sir Roger Douglas, I want to know why he is supporting legislation which would allow the Inland Revenue Department to go and get money that belongs to a third party out of an account to satisfy the debt of a defaulter whose money it is not. So it goes into an account which is not solely in the name of the defaulter, it's in two names. The money which is being held in it belongs to a third party, and Roger Douglas is supporting legislation which allows the Inland Revenue Department to go into that, no notice to anyone, no pleases, no thank yous, and to confiscate that cash again. Well, the member says rubbish. Well, the member hasn't read the bill, because that is exactly what clause 16 of this bill does. This is exactly what clause 16 of this bill does, and I want to know what Roger Douglas, who's meant to stand for freedoms, for the integrity of bank accounts, for not having state involvement in there, and I just say, is that an appropriate thing to do? If you have an arrangement whereby money is, there are lots of businesses, I don't want to say there are an excessive number of tax defaulting lawyers, but there are a few of them around, where their signatures are as trustees on bank accounts. But like Chris Finlayson, they're not currently operating them. It's nothing to do with them. But there is money in those accounts. There is money which is in those accounts that does not belong to them. And I just say, why should the Inland Revenue Department have the remedy of going into those accounts, which mightn't have been used for 20 years, by the tax defaulter, and take money from those accounts? And, what can be right about that? What is the ethics of that situation, that we're giving this enormous power to the state to confiscate money to satisfy a tax debt from someone who is not the defaulter? Mr Chairman, it's something which I think needs to be looked at. And another area which I'm not sure whether my colleague is going to pick up as he takes the speech in 5 seconds' time. But there's the question of 15B credit and debit notes.